Hi everyone, Holly Pike here from Artistic Cutworks. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to talk about subway art. I've had a lot of questions about how to do it, which software do I use to do it in, and all that kind of stuff. Tonight I'm going to use the Silhouette Cameo or the Silhouette Studio Business Edition. It's a software that goes with the Silhouette Cameo. I'm going to use that software tonight because it does a good job and it has all the tools that we need to do subway art. So basically what subway art is, it's word art with text. We're going to make some words, we're going to change their shapes, play with them a little bit, put them together in a way that's pleasing to us, and that's subway art. So I have a couple of samples here of subway art. This is one sample. We did this for a class. So basically it's words with different fonts, different sizes, different shapes and treatments put into kind of a collage type thing. So that's one. And then this is another one. And this was done a little differently. This one was done in a class also that we did at Silhouette by the Sea with Missy Billingsley. And Dawn Wenner actually taught this class. It was pretty cool how she did it, but this is also another type of subway art, what you can do with subway art. It's just words made into art to look cool. I don't know how else to describe that to you, but that's what subway art is. I did this afternoon, a new set of designs that I'm doing of just the dog breeds and, you know, how we're going to play around with the text and make some fun blocks of words for things. Hey, Jude. So that's subway art. We're going to use the Silhouette software, the Studio Edition, I'm sorry, the Business Edition, because it has some features in there that I really particularly like and am really comfortable with. Now, you could probably do this same technique over in Sure Cuts a Lot. If you're real familiar with it and comfortable with it, you could probably do that. As far as the Cricut or the Brother software, you don't have a lot of power to change the shapes of things like words and things like that. So I'm not sure you'd be successful over there. But what you could do is you could do it in an art program, something like CorelDRAW or Paint or something like that. Make your subway art. You could make this like an image and then send it out as a JPEG and trace it. So you could do that if you have a Cricut or a Scan and Cut. Or you could print it and scan it with your Brother Scan and Cut. So there are ways to do it. Or if you have the Silhouette software, you can do it there and send it out as an SVG and cut it on your machine. So you can still do it. It's just those two softwares just aren't quite powerful enough to do it. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be working in the software tonight. So that's my home screen. I maybe should start the software. How about that? If we're going to use it, we may as well start it. And we're going to do a piece of subway art based on words that go with coffee. Words that go with coffee. So I have here a list of words that I thought up for coffee. And we're just going to put a bunch of them on the screen, and I'm going to show you the process, and we're just going to do it. This could take 15 minutes, or it could take longer. It just depends on how much we want to do with it and how fussy we want to get. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got my list of words here. Now the first thing we'll do is I want to turn on my grid. So I'm going to click on this little piece of paper and turn on the grid. And I want to show the grid. I like working with the grid. For me, it's visual. It gives me an idea of where I am and how big I'm getting. Because I kind of like to control the size on most things. Okay, so I'm just going to start typing words, and then we'll change them later. So I'm just going to choose my text tool and drop the cursor right there, and we're going to type in caffeine, and then we're going to type grind, whoops, maybe I ought to spell it correctly. Grind, and I'm going to do them in capitals and in small case, and kind of mix it up a little bit. Cup. Each time I have to choose my select tool. Mug. Whoops. Boy, I have a spelling issue. And then we have decaf. Now this is kind of cool. If I go over here to the text properties, if I select this word right here and click this, it's going to make it vertical for me. So I can just sit that over there. And the next one is beans. And then aroma. And a few of these we're going to have to spin around into verticals. Morning. I hope. Oh, let's make awake all capitals. Kind of like awake. And we may not use all of these. We may get rid of some of them. And cream. Okay, that's a bunch of words. So now I'm just going to take a few of these and make them vertical, just to give us some options. And let's see, let's take mug and make mug vertical. Okay, so now we've got our words in. Not so hard, you just choose your text tool, put your cursor on the screen, and type, and you're good to go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the font, and we're going to change the size and kind of play with these a little bit. But first, I'm going to left click, drag, hold and drag a box around everything because I just want to make these all black. Again, I'm visual. I don't like outlines. I like to see the visual word. So let's start with caffeine. I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down in my fonts until I find what I want, and I want this one. Whew, that's a good one for caffeine. Okay, now we can stretch it if we want, or stretch it the other way. But for now, I'm just going to let them kind of just be. You're probably going to want to use printing rather than cursive for this, but that's your choice. You can really do whatever you like. And I'm just selecting them and going and finding a different font for each one. Or you can just choose 2 or 3 fonts and, mix them up. That's okay too. That's okay too. Okay, let's go down here and see some of these other ones down here. How about that one? Oh, nope. Don't like that one because it's kind of fussy. It's going to be a little bit of a problem to cut. How about that one? That's a good one. Okay. And you'll pick them, and then you might say, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Okay, that one works. Let's go up and pick one that we've already used. So I'm going to pick that one. And then you can see your most recently used fonts right here. We'll do that one. Nope, we don't want to do that one. Better. And then morning will be the last one. We'll do avocado for morning. Okay, so now all of our fonts are different, or all of our words are different fonts. So that's cool. So now we're going to just play with these a little bit. I think maybe I want this one a little bigger because caffeine is kind of important for coffee. And maybe we'll just stretch this out, the character spacing, a little bit, so we have a little bit of space in between these words. Okay? And then black, let's play with this one over here in the warp. We're going to warp the selected word. Okay, that's a little different. We're going to make cup a little smaller. And then decaf, we can also do like that. I'm just playing. There's nothing, I'm not doing anything really spectacular here at all. I'm just playing with the letters just to see what I can do with them. Back to the warp. I think I want a different font for that one. Better. There's one down here that I kind of like, if I can find it. This one. Yeah, there you go. Awake. I'm awake now. Or maybe we should use that one for aroma. I don't know. It's just playing, guys. It's just literally playing. I like that better. Awake can be Verdena. And we'll play with it a little bit. Okay, how about that? All right, so now we've got our words, and now we need to place them where we want them. And I always start with the 12 by 12 or the full mat, because we can always shrink it down. We can always shrink it down and make it smaller. But you can always make it bigger too, but it's easier to work big than it is small. And this font's bothering me, so let's change that one. Better. Okay. Okay, so now we're just gonna play with where these are gonna be positioned. There is no right or wrong, truly. It's just a matter of what you like. We can rotate. I'm really not, there is no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing, none whatsoever. I'm just playing a little bit. Okay, we're going to stop there just for a minute. I've kind of got them pushed around a little bit. I have an idea of where I want to go. Now, I'm going to open another workspace, and I'm going to open a piece of artwork. I'm going to navigate to where my artwork is, and I'm going to type up here cup. Wait. I'm going to type right here, cup. And it's going to bring up some cups for me to choose from out of my artwork that is all licensed to me, nice and legal. So I'm going to choose this one. And here's my cup. Now we're going to trace. I'm going to go to this little piece of toast, choose Select Trace Area, left click, hold, and drag a box. So you see now everything didn't turn yellow. So that's when you go over here to Threshold until it turns yellow. And then hit Trace. Come over here, add a color. I don't need this anymore, so that can go away. But now I'm going to select it and hit this little node thing. And remember a few videos back, we talked about all the nodes. As many of these little squares that you have, it makes it take longer to cut because the machine has to think every time it sees one of those. So I'm going to go right up here to simplify this and see how many it took out. It took out a whole lot of nodes. But I'm going to simplify it even a little more. I'm going to click on that node and hit delete. I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible. Okay, I can live with that. Okay, so here's our coffee cup. I'm going to left click on it, then right click and copy. No, cancel. I'm going to left click, and now I'm going to left click and I'm going to paste. And here's my coffee cup. I'm going to put it in the middle. So now how my words go in kind of changes a little bit. It changes just a little bit. I might pick a little bit different coffee cup because I'm kind of not enjoying that right there. Let's see if we can fix that. I'm going to take my rectangle. Just going to try and close it off. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to select them and weld. And now you notice I have a side over here to my coffee cup. And it's a piece of the cup. We'll do another one over here. All I did was make a skinny rectangle. That's all I did. Okay, we'll do the same thing. Select them both. Click weld. And now our coffee cup makes a little more sense, I think. Makes a little more sense. Okay, so we have our coffee cup. Let's select all these and make a compound path. The reason I made a compound path puts them together and makes it one. Grouping kind of just is like collecting things into a group and picking them up together and moving them. Compound path makes it one. Okay, so we really want a compound path for this so that it doesn't come apart at the wrong time. Okay, so I'm going to just about put that in the middle. Now, we want to have some spaces between our words and our letters because we're going to want to play with this a little more. So I'm just going to use my arrow keys. I'm going to move things around a little bit. I'm going to select multiple things here and just slide them over and down. Just because it just feels good to be there. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. There is no, hard and fast rule. There is no hard and fast rule. Get it to the way you like it, and then that makes everybody happy. Okay. So, not sure I like cup there. I think I'm going to like it there better. And I think I need one or two more words, is what I actually think. Another coffee word. Hi, Margie. Another coffee word. Oh, how about...
Java. Tone.
Oh, Larry suggested Java. We'll make that black.
French roast. Anything more?
I'm going to make it horizontal for now. And put it right there. A little bigger. Let's change the font to that one. I'm going to push the characters together a little bit because they're kind of far apart. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close this blue cup because I don't need it anymore. So that can go away. And I have a blank one. I'm going to bring in another piece of artwork. From my pictures and my shapes. I'm going to bring in my coffee beans. And let's trace it. Looks pretty good. I just fine-tuned it a little bit over here with the slider and trace. Okay, we can delete that because we don't need it anymore. But this, when I right-click on this, it doesn't say make a compound path. So what it's telling me is that it already is a compound path. Hi, Kathy. So I want to release the compound path. And I want to select each of these on its own and make a compound path. Because I want to separate them and maybe use them individually. Okay? Select the whole thing. I'm left-click, holding, and dragging a rubber band around everything. Copy. I'm just going to paste them over here, or over there. And now I can take my coffee beans in. I'm holding my shift key to select multiple things. I'll right click and say group. Now I want to copy and paste. And I want to flip it horizontally. So I'll right click and flip horizontally and do a little rotate. Put these coffee beans in there. And that's pretty much my subway art for coffee. I'm selecting both words by holding my shift key. I'm just going to compact this up a little bit. Okay, there you have it. There's my subway art. But here's the last thing we need to do. We need to select each one of these words and make them a compound path. Remember when we talked about text a few videos ago? If you have fonts on your computer that you use in a design, and you want to give that design to a friend, or you want to sell that design, you need to make it a compound path, because then it becomes artwork. If you don't do that, their software is going to default to some font, and you don't know what font it's going to be. So you want to make sure that you make text a compound path and turn it into artwork. That's important. Let me say that again in Russian. You want to make sure when using text to change it into a compound path so it becomes artwork. Okay? Cool. Let's finish up. Thanks, Margie. Margie says, thank you. I could watch you play all day. I love how you did the sides to the cup. Thank you. That, part of that is the experience with embroidery digitizing and adjusting things and making things work for embroidery. You just kind of learn how to use the tools, and then you're like, oh, sure, I can do this. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, well, there's always undo. That's my theory. Okay, so I'm just going to right-click on each of these words, come right down here to make a compound path. I suppose I could select them all together, like holding the shift key, but then it would be one great big compound path. Sometimes the coloring goes away. That's not a big deal. We can recolor it. Make a compound path. Make a compound path. Make a compound path. Okay, I think that's all of them. Yep. Okay, so now let's put the color back in this one. I'm just selecting it and hitting the black. I don't know why it does that. Doesn't really matter. It just does. Okay, so now it's artwork. This is grouped. This is one thing, and that's grouped. So we're looking pretty good here, I think. The last thing I'll do is left click, hold, and drag a rubber band around everything. And I'm going to right click and group. This way now you can move it wherever you want. Now I probably wouldn't make this big, particularly if I was going to put it like on a shirt or something like that, or a bag. I would probably now, once it's grouped, do that with it. And then make it whatever size you want it, or you could do it, you know, the full size of the mat. Whatever, you know, you can do pretty much whatever you want to do. Let's turn off the grid so you can see it. So that's our coffee subway art. Oh, that's great. Margie says she's new to the Cameo, but she's used Artistic Threadworks embroidery designs for years. Well, I'm glad you found us on Facebook too. It's good to have you over here. When I do subway art, like when I did the dog, I'm doing a series of these dogs. So, you know, if y'all have dogs and you want your dog done, put that down in the comments, because I'll do those first.
The breed, not
The breed, not the dog's name, but the breed. You know, like I have Boxer in the middle because I love boxers. I don't have boxers anymore, but I do love them. Put the breed, your dog's breed, in there, and I'll do those first. Why? Because you're here live. And you are the guys that get to dictate and direct me to what I'm going to do for you. So put your dog breed down in there, and I'll get those done first when I start doing these. I have Boxer and Pointer done, of course, because those are my dogs, and Pug is going to be next. But that's all it is. It's just text. And everything that we did in all those videos last week about text and manipulating text and putting text in and what you can and can't do it with text and why you should do it with text, right there. That's a practical application to all that stuff in those other videos that you learned. If there's one thing you're going to learn about me if you take this journey with me for a very long time, is I'll teach you a skill and you put that in your tool belt. And then I'm going to challenge you to pull those tools out of that tool belt and make something with it. Okay, so you need to do some subway art. Okay, it's fun. You can't make a mistake, and if you don't like it, you just delete it. Who cares, right? Who cares? That's subway art.